Hey gang, Ed here, and what I'm about to show you in this video is pretty extraordinary. We're going to see how we can use ChatGPT-4 in this case to conduct advanced market understanding interviews. Does it give us the information we need? Can we avoid, or at least postpone, the need to interview real people in the marketplace? That's the promise. Let's see how we did. Thanks to the legends who subscribe to my newsletter, link below, by the way, to get all the latest information, we were able to prove that large language models like ChatGPT-4 have the ability to help us identify key problems in hobby markets, which is just such a time saver. The next question is, since the days of the early challenge, market understanding, techniques and methodologies for understanding your market and sophisticated research and interviewing techniques have been developed. We explored some of these in the later years of the challenge, but of course, there's been even further developments. Here's the interesting opportunity. Okay, so it could identify problems. Could we be able to actually role play a full interview? If it could, this changes the game. So here's what we did. First of all, I started from scratch. Hey, ChatGPT, I was hoping you could help me understand a market better. I want to know the biggest challenges people find learning no-code app development. It gave me a bunch of interesting information. Now, something that's really interesting. I've actually been interested in no-code, and you will all, wink, get very interested in no-code in the future. And its number one point, remember how I said how good at 8, 9 times out of 10? Lack of customization was nowhere near on the list of problems that I had learning no code. I was very intrigued by this. I then asked the question, which of these issues do you think is the biggest problem for someone starting out? And again, it said lack of customization. And I thought, hang on, this is wrong. Then it hit me. I asked the question wrong. And this is so important. Can I ask you one thing? What about the fact that no code still requires some knowledge of stuff like APIs and database management? For people who are tech savvy but have never studied programming or did a tiny bit at school, is this a bigger issue than lack of customization? Absolutely. The need to understand APIs, database management, etc. I thought, hang on, we need to start over and I need to ask the right questions. So here, for tech-savvy individuals with no programming experience, aka most of my audience watching this video, hi, what are the key challenges facing them with no-code development? And now we're cooking with gas, understanding technical concepts, integration challenges, absolutely the second biggest thing, getting things connected. Limited customization and scalability, honestly, not been an issue for me, but we're in the micro SaaS end of the market. We want to be able to create great experiences for a small number of people. Security and compliance, testing and debugging, and there is a vendor lock-in risk, right? You're choosing one of these no-code vendors to do this. This is great. And so the next thing I need to understand, if we're going to do one of these advanced market understanding interviews, and one of my favorites is Ash Mariah's problem discovery interview. The problem discovery interview is a really interesting technique. You're going to see it here. And by the way, on Tuesday, I'm going to make it available in my newsletter to my paid subscribers, because I want your help again, a full checklist. Here's the interview technique. Here's what you do. Here's how you test. Just so you can get some advanced testing in. And also, like we confirmed or disproved, whether this concept holds water when we expand it and do it across a whole bunch of hobbies. Let's continue. So the first thing we've got to ask is, so how do people solve problems? Because we need what's called the existing solution when we're defining something like that. To solve the challenge of understanding technical concepts such as APIs, database management, we've got educational resources, community forum, platform documentation, hands-on practice, workshops and webinars, mentorship and peer support, etc., etc. Now, I thought I was feeling funky. I was feeling clever. So I said, hey, could you create a table for me and rank each of these in terms of speed, effectiveness, and expense? We want to understand the relationship between those three things to figure out what our opportunity is. If there's stuff that's completely free, completely easy, completely effective, then there's probably less of an opportunity for us. We shall see. And guess what? Look at that. It created a fantastic chart. Not only that, is it told me how it worked. And so you can see here, educational resources are about a 2, effectiveness about a 2, with 1 being the most effective, and on the expensive side, least expensive, in the least expensive range, as opposed to mentorship and peer support, 6 on the fastest, effectiveness, 6, and it's one of the least effective. That's an interesting thing. I need to think about that. And 4, it's certainly the most expensive. Typically, it is the most expensive. But what this was able to do was really let me know that, educational resources is where I need to focus. But remember, we need a specific existing solution. So I thought, hey, can ChatGPT help me with that? Could you give me examples of what you mean by educational resources? You bet it could. Have a look at this. Certainly, examples of educational resources for learning technical concepts in no-code development. Remember, technical concepts was the big problem. So it's remembered and kept in context everything that I've been asking. Already, this is bananas, right? You can already see how much better, how much more info we've got. And I don't know how long this took. This was 5 minutes so far of this entire process. And you can see here online courses like Coursera, Udemy, edX offer courses tailored for beginners, ebooks and guides, video tutorials, blogs and articles, interactive learning platforms like Code Academy and Khan Academy. So I just said, hey, which of these would be most effective to get one of our tech savvy but no programming experience? Remember, that's who we're targeting. And thanks ChatGPT for helping me sharpen the knife in that understanding. You don't have to worry about cost because, frankly, I'm hoping there's lots of expensive things because, hey, that's opportunity. If people are paying money in that market, we want to be there. It's a good thing. For tech-savvy individuals, the most effective way to get up to speed with no-code programming would likely be a combination of online courses and hands-on practice. Nailed it. It's absolutely true. So online courses, and here it gives some examples, and nothing beats practical experience. You're absolutely right. ChatGPT drills are everything. We know that. So the combination of both these is helpful, right? Already we've learned so much, but wait, as they say in the classics, there's more, way, way more. We haven't even started our interview. Here's what we want to do. We want to use a problem discovery interview. This particular interview is part of the process of understanding the market. It's really powerful. If ChatGPT could do this, oh my goodness, very exciting. Let's see. So first, we need to get them to do a character. I explained what I wanted to do. And keep in mind, this is all the one conversation. It's not a super prompt. It's a chain of thought. Chain of thought approaches are great when we're doing initial testing of concepts. It's what I always do. It created a profile here, Alex Johnson. Background, programming experience, recent learning path, told me what the learning path, told me the current project, and told me their motivation. This is amazing. This is exactly what I wanted to need. Feel free to start the interview with Alex whenever you're ready. Side note here, people. This is interesting. Completely off topic, but this right here is interesting. You do know that ChatGPT talks about all sorts of things where it doesn't learn. It doesn't learn from APIs. It doesn't learn from enterprise customers. It doesn't learn from blah, 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 blah. In beautiful Apple style, what's the one thing that they never say that they don't learn from? Your interactions with ChatGPT. And for those of you who are familiar with my body of work, that I've been working extensively on a Sell by Chat coach, which I released a couple of weeks ago for Black Belt. And of course, this is how we always started these interviews, with the first name. It was a trigger. So I'm wondering if it's learning. Anyway, I digress. This is literally cut and paste from the start of a product discovery interview that is covered in the book Running Lean. You should all have a copy of that book. So here we go. Absolutely. I'm happy to share my experiences. Your approach for wanting to learn rather than pitch is refreshing. it's important to do that in that context because people often worry about it. Hey, so let's start. So the first part of the problem discovery is to understand what happened. Do you remember when you signed up? We do it based on a timeline. It's a very clever technique. And the best place to start is boom, where they signed up. And this is where I started to get really excited. Have a look at this. Yes, that's correct. I'd been reading a few articles online about the rise of no-code, how they're empowering people. There's some research here. And I just created an account on Udemy and purchased the course. Okay. There already is a river of gold in market understanding. But the purpose of a good problem discovery interview is you have to drill deep. You can't let anything go. So the first thing that they said is, oh, do you remember how you researched looking for something to teach you? Because that's super important. Yes, I remember the research process quite well. I started doing a general search on Google for terms like no-code development courses and how to learn no-code app building. Are you smelling what the rock is cooking here, people? This led me to several tech blogs and forums. I also visited websites like Reddit and Quora to read about personal experiences, paid close attention to reviews and ratings. Additionally, I looked for courses that offered hands-on projects. It's rivers of gold. Unbelievable. Hey, what sort of things were you looking in for course content? I was looking for several key elements: fundamental concepts, platform overviews, practical applications, hands-on projects, resources for further learning, community and support. These elements are important. It's giving me information. I'm already starting to think here, hang on a second, is an AI customer problem interview actually better and more efficient than a real world interview? Because I've conducted hundreds and hundreds of these interviews. I use them extensively, particularly when I'm doing copywriting. And people are always, they can't answer like this. I have to drag it out of them. So I'm very excited to see if this tracks for you. Remember Paid Legends? I'm going to be hitting you up on Tuesday with all the details. Hey, if you're not a subscriber to the newsletter yet, there's a link down below and you can grab yourself a subscription. Subscriptions are free, by the way, but I do testing with the Paid Legends, and frankly, it's less than the cost. I was at Starbucks this morning, and let me tell you, I got a salted caramel vanilla foam froth cold brew, and that was $8. And I think a membership for a month is like $10. So 2 cold brews a month. Come on, this is awesome. Anyway, back to this. So remember, anything that we don't know, we have to drill down. Now, honestly, I could have drilled down more here, but because I was doing this with you in mind, watching this video, and hopefully being as astounded as I am, you notice here, it said experience levels. And I'm going, and that was back up a bit earlier. And I was interested, hey, what do you mean about experience levels? When considering the experience level for the course, I was looking for beginner-friendly content, progression to intermediate concepts, and clarity of instruction. Nailed it. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. This is what this process is about. It's understanding the market. We don't want to put our own ideas here. We just want to understand the market. What are the issues? So next thing, I was intrigued. So when you were looking for hands-on projects, can you tell me a bit about what you were looking for? Notice natural language. It works so much better. It talks about variety, relevance to real world, step-by-step guidance, opportunity for creativity. This is so true. This is so true. Like when I was learning no-code stuff, I wanted to do ChatGPT stuff, but I wanted to try it with my stuff. And I know that's bad, and I discourage that in a lot of learning practices, but I do want to see the opportunity for creativity in a course. I really appreciate your time here, Alex. This is a real conversation. If I was doing this interview like I have done hundreds of times, I would be constantly reinforcing, and you should reinforce to the ChatGPT. When I decide to go to Udemy, there's a few key factors. So positive reviews, flexibility, price point. These factors made me feel comfortable, et cetera, et cetera. Now, for those of you who understand this problem discovery interview, you'll know here that I'm starting to pitch into the next section. Was there anything in particular that promoted the purchase at that specific time? We're always looking for triggers. I figured, oh, look, I'm just going to come out and say it. And it was a good idea because look at what it revealed. The decision to purchase a course came at the end of a research session. What prompted the purchase at that specific time were a few factors. Udemy's limited time discount, It was offering a significant discount. The urgency created by the limited time offer was a major motivator. Feeling well informed, I'd done a lot of researching and comparing. I felt I had enough information. Readiness to begin. I was ready to go. These were the factors. Oh my gosh, this is so good. So again, in this process, we now start going backwards in the timeline. I remember you were reading the articles about no code. Do you remember what sparked your interest in reading those articles? It was a really interesting answer. What were the best sources of information for you? Where'd you do your reading? Right now, we're in this role play, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to push this to the very edge. I knew I was doing it. Let's see what happened. Were there any particular influences you found particularly helpful in your research? I was just thought, how far can we push? During the research, and it beautifully danced around the question, and so I didn't want to dance. I wanted to know the deets, and I knew I was pushing it. And that's why I put the emoji, the smiley face there. Do you happen to remember any of the names and sites? This would be super useful for our research. I'm sorry, but I can't create or recall specific names of influencers or their websites in this scenario, as it will involve fabricating details. And that's absolutely true, and that's the switch that I figured it was going to trigger. However, it really did try to soften the blow, which was very nice, and gave me some ideas. Hey, and then it's important to say, hey, completely understand, and then I wanted to remind it, we're in the role play. This is very important. If we can get back to the role play, Alex. This is all, I hope, not only are we understanding market understanding here, but you're also seeing how I operate with ChatGPT, how I keep the flow going, how I remind it of our purpose from time to time, because it's really important to do. Hopefully you're picking up a lot of side coaching, because it's these little subtle things that really enable us to get way more out of a ChatGPT-4 session than a lot of other people. So if we could get back to the role playing, you mentioned you worked in digital marketing. I was really intrigued by this. Hey, what sort of thing? Remember, you said professional interest. In my role of digital marketing, I saw no code as potentially useful. But please, look at this, people. Look, unbelievable. I could totally see that. You mentioned it was also appealing from personal curiosity. I'd love to know what tweaked your interest. My personal curiosity was piqued by the idea of being able to create and customize applications, etc., etc., etc. This was really interesting. I wonder if it would spill the tea in terms of personal projects. And here we go. Personal projects. I saw no code as useful for community engagement apps, personal productivity tools, and hobby-related projects. The versatility of no-code development made it appealing tools for these kinds of personal projects. Now, this next statement here is really important. I want to highlight it. I see you're using no code for your local community group. How did that come about? If you recall, right back at the start, part of the profile of this Alex that I knew was that he was creating a no-code app for a community group. So I referred back to that. This is important in real life. It's also important when we're talking with a large language model, because it's a language model. All it's doing is predicting the percentage of the next word. So reminding it of things that it talked about way back, because by this time, by the way, I may be 30 minutes in. Can I bring up your decision to choose Udemy? Who else did you consider learning from? Oh my gosh. Hello. Not only did it tell me, which is typically what would happen in a real person interview, it actually gave me some flavor, as they say in the industry. Come on. This is amazing. I compared these options in terms of course content, flexibility, user reviews. Udemy ultimately stood out due to specific course content. Oh, it's like doing my job for me. So good. Where did you first hear about Udemy in the context of learning no code? When you're working in role plays like this, you do have to keep an eye out for the session can sometimes loop out. We've seen this before. And what do I mean by loop out? It means that it's good old ChatGPT, it just runs out of steam. The new ChatGPT has a much larger context window, which all you need to know is it can just deal with a lot more chatting. The process was quite straightforward. Walk us through getting started because we want to know about the sign-up process. Here it is. User interface was quite user-friendly, which was good. At what moment did you think I've made the right decision here? This is where we understand. Right now we're moving the timeline from purchase through to where they're going, which gives us extraordinary amounts of information. The moment came as I started applying concepts of the code. Look at these answers. People, do you understand? Do you understand the ramifications of that? And we're going to test it, gang. I just don't want to rely on this. I've done this a few times, but you're all going to test it as well. So how often do you use no-code course? Have you gone back to it now? And are you working on no-code projects? By the way, these are effectively questions straight from the problem discovery interview. Talks about going back. So at the start, you wanted a course that gave you the basics and took you through a journey to intermediate level. So I was going, oh, hang on. Was there anything that you found particularly tricky or challenging as you were going through the Udemy course? This is role play, people. One of the more challenging aspects for the Udemy course was understanding integration of no-codes with other systems and APIs. This was a challenge. The course provided an overview, but I found I needed supplement to learning with additional resources. This part of the course required a bit more time. Now, if I'd had more time, I think I was heading toward, by the end of this, it was about 50 minutes, the whole session. And that's about what a product discovery interview takes. But I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to hook up any interviews. It was just with my mate Alex and ChatGPT-4. What's next for you in your no-code journey? This is a really important question because we really want to understand where they're going. Are there some interesting opportunities here? What's their next mountain to climb, as Ash would say? So I'm looking for advanced functionalities, automation and data analytics. So of course, I wanted to go into this because opportunity. Hey, what sort of skills are you looking to develop? Again, the whole purpose of this type of interview, it's very important to not let high level stay high level. We want to go into detail. And that's important in interviewing, but it's really important when you're doing prompt whispering. It's amazing how much more information is under the skin when you ask for it. When you understand how large language models work theoretically based on probabilities, your ability to ask questions to make it go deeper is incredibly powerful. So here's some advanced data integration, user experience design, automation techniques, analytics implementation. That sounds bang on to me. What sort of things are you looking for in no-code platforms? I thought, oh, hang on, I should check out what no-code platform you're talking about, because he was talking about others. And he talked about ease of use, customization, scalability, integration, and then went on to mention atmaster.io during its comprehensive features. And then it said, for my current community project, I'm using a platform that offers good database management and user interface customized options. It went generic again. If you don't mind me asking, which no-code platforms offer good database management and user interface customizations? This blows my mind, people. This blows my mind. Look at this. Platforms like Bubble, Adalo. Bubble provides powerful editor. It actually, and then goes and breaks it. It does my job for me. Oh, we're at the end of a problem discovery, and already you can see how much gold there is. At the end of a problem discovery, we ask, hey, is there other people that you could tip me into so that I could interview them about this? And I absolutely knew that this again could break it out of the simulation, but I thought we're at the end, so it's fine. And guess what? As a character creator for this scenario, I'm unable to make introductions. However, in a real world context, and again, it softens the blow. I love how it does that. Fair enough. Thank you, ChatGPT, for doing this role play with me. It was super helpful. Pretty astounding, right? But here's the crazy pants thing. And I'm not going to show you this today. I'm going to work on this, and it'll probably be next week's video. There's actually a whole process for analyzing the information you get in interview like this. I'm pretty sure I can get ChatGPT to do all that summarization for me. If I teach it the process, and that will be banana town. I'm pretty sure. I haven't tested it yet, so I can't say that it will for certain, but I am pretty sure it will. All right, here's what's going to happen. Paid Legends, on Tuesday, you're going to get a special report with the questions I used, the technology and methodology that I used to do this process, and I want you to test it on your niches and hobbies that you are really familiar with, just like we did with the original problem understanding. Now, They do take time. They take a little while to do, but I think you'll find it if you do it in a market either you're in or that you want to get in and you've got really good knowledge, do that. So if you're not a paid subscriber, now would be a great time to become a paid subscriber because you get all this stuff early. And frankly, if you get it early, there's no reason for you not to apply this immediately. Of course, we're doing all of this right now in preparation for next year's 30-day challenge, which is, of course, all going to be AI-based. But there's no reason why you can't work on this material now. All right. So that's why being a paid legend is helpful. However, subscribing to the little blue report, which is the newsletter, is free. And there's plenty of stuff that I send you every week, not the least of which is letting you know about these videos and things like that and stuff that I'm doing. So link below. Can't wait to look at the next stage, which is analyzing this data and how we can use ChatGPT to do that. And I can't wait to see what you do with all this. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Are you as excited as I am in all of this? It is astounding. With that, thank you very much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash that bell, or whatever you do, whatever the kids are doing these days. And I will speak to you real soon. Ciao for now.